I'm Chinenye. I worked with Sam Weeks Consulting to apply to Emory and Vanderbilt, and I got admitted into both of them. I got $63,000 at Vanderbilt, and I got $20,000 in Emory.
My name's Sam Weeks. I'm a full-time admissions consultant. I help applicants who are applying to top business schools, especially MBA programs and EMBA programs. And today I have with me Chinenye, who applied to Owen, Vanderbilt, and to Emory. And so, Chinenye, can you start off by just introducing yourself, please?
Okay, well, so hi guys. Like Sam said, I am Chinenye. Right now, I'm currently in Gallatin, Tennessee. I am Nigerian, but I moved to the US to be with my husband.
Chinenye, what were some of the reasons for you wanting to do an MBA?
I wanted to pivot into strategy consulting, and we all know that an MBA is one of the best ways for you to achieve that.
Can you talk about what parts of your profile lend themselves to that transition? So the skills you've already got, but also the skills that you're going to get from an MBA. The reason I ask is a lot of people who are watching this are going to be wanting to make that same transition, and they're thinking, they're going into their essays thinking, what do I need? What should I be writing about? So what are the skills that you think you already have, and what are the skills that you're going to get from the MBA?
So I'd say that the one skill that I have is my ability to effectively manage stakeholders. And this is because coming from an investment banking background and then a finance background, I found out that I had to work with a lot of people to get things done. So a lot of the projects that I worked on, so during my time at Guinness Nigeria PLC, I worked on a business transformation project. And basically I had to bring, every part of the business together to transform the business. And so I know that you'll find that you would do a lot of that in consulting, because it's basically just you helping a business bring its growth strategies to life, which is what I did. I would also say my analytical skills. So there is a lot of analysis that happens in investment banking, in finance as well. That is very, very important. Being able to break down a very complex scenario into the tiniest little detail to make it understandable by the average person who might not understand the technical jargons and things like that. In terms of what I hope to gain from business school, the breadth of the expertise of the professors who are going to be taking those classes, I would want to draw on their wealth of experience. Also networking with my classmates. These are people who have some leg in certain industries and certain companies that they've been working in. The opportunity to network from with people from those backgrounds, and just drawing on the opportunity that the Career Management Center will offer me, because I have not really done any work here in the US. So I definitely would need to take advantage of, all of that resources that, business school will offer me. So I'll say that, that's what I hope to get from business school.
So for you, what you've made here, or what you're hoping to make, is what we would call a double jump, which is, so you're going from, as you say, investment banking in Nigeria into consulting in the United States. So there's actually two components that you're pivoting here. So you're really you're going to get a lot out of business school compared to a lot of people who are only moving perhaps industry, for example. What were some of the key steps that you went through to get those scholarships? So a lot of people watching are thinking, oh my gosh, an MBA is going to be so expensive. I really need a scholarship to be able to make this transition. Can you tell people what you did, both from a sort of an application perspective, but also from just a practical standpoint? There are certain essays you have to write. Just walk through what you did to get your scholarships.
So for Emory, it's just the general MBA essays that you write, why an MBA, what are your short-term and long-term goals? And they look at that essay and, all the other parts of your application, and then, decide that, we're going to give you X or Y. Um, it is, um, so I'd say with Emory, it was just those essays and basically just trying to tell my story. With Vanderbilt, on the other hand, they had specific essays that you could write. And that was entirely optional. So for me, I wanted to write as many essays as possible to increase my chances of getting more funding. So I wrote the Forte Fellowship Scholarship. There was one on diversity, equity, and inclusion. There was one, I think there was the Reaching Out MBA Scholarship for LGBTQ plus. I think, yeah, those are the three essays, optional scholarship essays available on the Vanderbilt application. So while I put in, a good amount of effort in the general MBA essays that just, talks about your short-term and long-term goals, I made sure that I also put in, good work into the scholarship essays, because funding is really important. And, it's one of the major factors I had to consider in deciding to do an MBA.
And so the funding opportunities, the funding that you received was very much based on the alignment of your values with the school's values. What values do you think they were looking for that you feel you really demonstrated? So there was some area that you obviously clicked with the school for them to A, give you an admit, B, give you a massive scholarship. What do you think those values were that they were looking for?
I would say my resilience.
Mm-hmm.
Moving to the US is not exactly a very easy thing to do, especially when you have a thriving career back home, and as you're leaving everything behind to come start like a new life here in the US. And I was able to portray to them that against all of those odds, against all of the fact that I'm coming here, I have a career gap. I did not exactly spend that time doing nothing. I showed them that there was more to just being a stay-at-home mom. So I showed them through my volunteering opportunities, the volunteering activities that I did while I was taking care of my kids, the courses that I had taken. I guess Owen wants to see that drive, that regardless of what your situation is, you've been able to make something out of it. And I would say I guess that's one thing that they saw in me, my resilience, my ability to network. So I networked like crazy. Which, we're told that networking is a very, very important skill to have. Networking skills is very important to have in business school. And I networked like crazy. So I spoke to so many students. I reached out to so many people. Even at some point, admissions committee knew me. They knew my name. And I remember my recruiter telling, when I went to the welcome weekend, she was telling one of the students there that Chinenye is very popular on campus, apparently.
Really, really helpful. Thank you so much for sharing this insight. It was so interesting to hear, for you to hear you share this story, start to finish, of this experience that you've been through during your application process. And one more time, massive congratulations.
Thank
for
you.
the admits and the funding. It's absolutely amazing.
I know, thank you. I owe it to you too. So maybe when I get my MBA degree, I'll probably put your name somewhere on the degree. It's all our degree, but yeah, because honestly, without that conversation with you, I would say that was what propelled me. Without that conversation, I wasn't sure. I was still one leg in, one leg in, one leg out, and we see this complimentary calls that consultants offer, and there are a lot of them out there, but for some reason I guess maybe because I wasn't fully committed yet, I honestly did not want to get on any calls yet. But then after speaking to you, I didn't even speak to anyone else. So after speaking to you and you just helping me build that confidence and telling me to tell my story, I remember you saying, why aren't you applying to the the other top schools? And it's I was convinced in my heart that I could do this after speaking to you. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. You don't get that from so many people. Some consultants are just after your money, and I did not get that with you. And we had my mock interview on a Sunday. I remember we had to squeeze, we had to find time because I had the interview on Monday and you made time out for me. So thank you very much for that. I really, really owe this to you as well.
It's my absolute pleasure. Really joy to follow your progress, to watch you, to help you get through this. And I cannot wait to see what you get up to in the near future. And I think the final point for me is best of luck with the transition into consulting. I hope that goes well.
I hope so. I hope so too. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Last thing, Chinenye, do you mind? High five.
High five.